Hey everyone, this is your favorite esthetician Daisha, bringing to you tips, tricks, tutorials on facial services, makeup, and aesthetics in general. If you haven't already, please like, follow, subscribe, and check us out on social media. Welcome to the GlowX family. So jumping right into the video today, I am showing you all of the supplies and products that I will be using for today's waxing video. We will be waxing in underarm, and I will also put in the product description a list of all the supplies and products. So first things first, you want to make sure that your client is comfortable. Once that is established, I am going to be testing the temperature of my wax on the inside of my wrist. Now this is how I was taught in school, so this is how I'm showing you today. So I'm just spreading that on the inside of my wrist, testing my temperature, and I will just immediately pull it off. Next, I am going to be using my Verde Pre Waxing Spray. I will link the ingredients of this spray below. Now, this is going to be the first step I'm taking in the actual waxing of my client. This is to clean her underarms of any debris such as deodorant or any sweat or anything that's going to be underneath there. Now I am going to be trimming my client's underarm hair. Her hair was on the longer side. To be waxed, your hair needs to be at least 1/4 of an inch or the size of a grain of rice. Now I'm going to be going in and making sure that I cover the entire underarm in baby powder. This is just regular baby powder, hypoallergenic. Some manufacturers for their wax require powder before the application, but I'm using this as an absorption technique. I like to use baby powder in areas that I know may sweat during the process of me waxing, so that's why I'm using it here. I know some people also use powder to show where they have waxed and where they have not waxed. For this underarm wax, I will be splitting the process into 2 parts. I'm going to wax the lower part, and then I will go back and wax the upper part for a couple of different reasons. My client's hair is growing in a lot of different ways. I discovered this during the first step when I was antisepting. So I feel like this is easier. This is my preference to just split it up into 2 different parts. Now throughout this whole process, you're going to see me holding her skin very taut, which just means holding the skin very tight. When you're waxing, the number 1 steps are to hold the skin tight. After holding the skin tight, you need to make sure that you're applying your wax in the proper direction and also removing in the proper direction. Because I'm using hard wax here, I can rip it off in any different direction, and I can also apply it in any different direction. Some manufacturers actually give instructions on how to apply and remove their wax. And as you can see, a nice clean strip just came off with the tips that I just mentioned. And the number 1 goal in waxing is to try to leave behind as least hair as possible. Now that the lower half is done, I'm going to be moving to the upper half of the underarm. Also, I would like to mention that during the process of waxing, you need to make sure that you are not waxing in the same spot too many times. You want to avoid doing this because you could cause a skin lift to your client. So on the upper half of this underarm, you can see that I am applying the wax against the way that her hair grows, and I will be removing it with the way that her hair grows. I'm just going to be making a lift with the wax that's on the end of my stick, and that's going to be my area for me to grip so that I can remove the wax. When I'm removing the wax, I'm going to make sure I'm holding the skin taut, and I'm going to actually try to test the temperature of my wax to make sure that it's ready to be removed. In the underarm, it gets very warm underneath there, so I like to tap on my wax before I actually remove to make sure that it's the right consistency. You don't want it too tacky and you don't want it too hard before you're removing. Now another trick that I like to apply is once I'm done removing my wax, I flip my strip over and try to catch all of the little wax specks left behind. This brand of satin smooth wax is not the best, so it leaves behind a couple of extra specks than normal. Once I'm done waxing the lower and upper half of the underarm, I'm going to be going back with one big clean up strip. Now my client has very deep crevices in her underarm, so I have to make sure to really hold the skin taut so that the wax gets everywhere that it needs to be, including inside of the creases. Now that I am done waxing this underarm, I will be going in and tweezing any of the little hairs that are left behind. I will also be extracting a clogged follicle in this underarm, which is very common underneath the underarm where we're putting our deodorant and etc. every day. We tend to forget that even though it's underneath our arm, it's still skin from our body, and we need to exfoliate our skin and our body at least twice a week. A few tips for tweezing: you should make sure that you have good lighting, sharp tweezers, and a cotton ball handy to discard your hair that you are tweezing. Now I'm going to go in with my Verde After Waxing Spray. This is going to help calm the area and also close the follicle. After that, I will be going in with my Gigi's Wax Off Spray, and that's to be cleaning the excess wax specks that are left behind. Also, per client request, you can take additional steps to help soothe the area that has just been waxed. My client requested aloe, so I will be spreading that underneath her arm, and then that will conclude the service for this underarm.